Hi everyone. Still in the spirit of the question and answer session. I think we should be doing a lot of these because a lot of people have a lot of unanswered questions. So we're not going to take much of your time, but I want to answer as many of your questions as humanly possible. Hello, all of you, and good morning. And before I go into anything else, I must once again start with the pastor who recently criticized my video and called. If you go to YouTube to Aroma's channel, you see he called my Lucifer teaching heretic. And I ask, how many other heretic things in the church has he come out to openly address? If you call what I'm doing heretic, why? Because I'm not part of the church system. I'm not part of the church business structure. You're calling my thesis heretic. The real heresy inside the church, when the whole church, Lagos to Ibadan Expressway, one whole church gathers to pray for your enemy to die, going that which is an antichrist prayer, going against Matthew chapter 5 verse 44. How many times have you called them out on their heresy? So you see, at the end of the day, they just want to discredit Daddy Freeze. And what have they eventually done? Let me tell you, they've punched a hole in their system. Because you need to be pretty unlettered, unintelligent to be buying those their philosophies with the revelation of the truth. Instead of them to come out and say, okay, this thing is true, we've made errors in the past. Yeah, even if you said, look, these things don't matter, it's still okay, but you try to question. And you see, this session, I don't want us to, because earlier on we had a question and answer session, and we addressed only questions and answers on Lucifer. I'm going to open the floor for the next 15 minutes, and I want you guys to answer any question on your mind. It doesn't have to be about Lucifer. Any question, just don't ask me about Nigerian politics and all those things. Unfortunately, I cannot answer. I'm not an expert on that. And don't ask me any questions about Islam. I'm not an expert on Islam. If you want to ask questions about Islam, I'm sure there are imams and priests, Islamic priests, who can help you in that regard. But we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about the Bible, we're talking about doctrine right here. So if you have a question, please go ahead and ask. While I anticipate your questions, Vincent Amara said this. He said, "Good evening, Daddy Freeze. I'd like to know how you will take this, but is it not better, is not to make you any better than you feel, for what you are doing is actually to say thank you. I'm grateful for your immense knowledge of the scripture and how you decipher it by going not just to current but old prints. I know you'll be getting many of these messages, but I would like you to please acknowledge mine whenever you read them. You see, sir, the search for the truth has made many like myself ask the question if there is God. If you see my question there, not a question of a God believing that he truly exists, but turning a blind eye to what's happening to us in this country and the world at large. I'm overwhelmed at your knowledge because I was actually prompted by what the late Prophet TB Joshua said, and that is, let love make you inquire instead of criticizing. That made me want to listen to you, to what you have to say, and believe me when I say I was blown away. I'm a Catholic by faith, and the teachings and doctrines of the church is so deep that you take only what you want to leaving the rest, but that's not good enough. I have a lot of questions and I would like you to answer them as they come. I'll also use this medium to always send you what we learned about that particular said subject. Thank you for taking this path. God bless, making sure you get the message. So I'm just accepting it and saying, thanks, bro. Read this out in my last live video. Okay, so another person asked, hi Freeze, so I was asking during today's live teaching how about resources that could be of help for research. I want to carry out some research on the type of things that you have been saying. Thank you. Let me know what you need. Hello Binta, I can see you. Let me know what exactly you need with regards to research. Okay, let me reply that. Let me know what you need. All right, I've got quite a few questions inbox. If you guys are not ready with your questions, I might just continue with them. Okay, someone just said, good day, sir. Okay, here's a question from Omokoride. Good evening, sir. May the Lord always guide your step and ministry. You have always been someone I follow when it comes to spiritual and God's guidance because I believe in your teachings. I like to ask, does a preacher have a say when it comes to someone whom someone is in love with or about to get married to? Because a pastor claimed I can't marry my current girlfriend whom I'm in love with, so it doesn't affect my future. I will say I didn't believe this or rebuke with the name of the Lord because she's someone I like to spend the rest of my days with. I would love to listen to your advice on this. Thank you and God bless. In all honesty, I think we accord preachers too much regard. What business is the business of a preacher with a girl you want to marry? You see, if your preachers were Christ, women like Mary Magdalene would never be saved. So, what if she's wayward? What if she has a problem? What if it is your opportunity for you to win her to God? What if it is your opportunity to find a partner that will give you joy? You see, when I was getting married for the first time, I didn't seek any, any ministers, pastors and all that. And when the marriage eventually crumbled, I didn't seek much either. But when Taste Buds and I got together, a lot of people said, why do you want to be with a woman who has had kids before? And a lot of people also told her, luckily for us, we'd gotten close before I started the Free Nation. I'm sure they probably have told her to avoid me and all that. But let me tell you something. I've known a lot of peace, a lot more peace with this divorced woman than I knew with my ex that I married as a single girl. A lot of people, I remember even one pastor telling me not to do it, blah, 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 blah. And I remember telling him to mind his business, which is what I tell pastors when it comes to putting your nose. You are supposed to go and teach the doctrine. Teach the doctrine. You can advise. You can ask, say, okay, I want to know about you. And you see, for instance, if the woman has a hot temper, a pastor meeting her 2 or 3 times can see the undertones of it if he's wise and suggest to her ways through which she can manage her temper. and suggest to the man to be that, look, you have to look beyond your love. You have to look at her from the point of view of the fact that she has a hot temper. That means you can't have a hot temper because you're going to get physical. If two people start boiling up at the same time, it could get physical. So if she's boiling up, you've got to calm down for her. Is that what you're ready to live with? Are you ready to send her through therapy? Are the two of you ready to go through therapy? Those are the kind of suggestions I would expect from a pastor, not she's going to ruin your future. Which future do you know? You are sitting down here. The pastors that died this year, how come none of you had the revelation? Which future exactly are you talking about? The one you are hoping for, the one you are praying for, the one that is really going to happen. So, even if she had dementia running in her family, even if you're going to be married to her for only 10 years, that 10-year period could create the opportunity for an impactful relationship. You guys can achieve things together. So, honestly, I do not like, first of all, I don't think it's any pastor's business to put their mouth in people's relationships. I don't interfere. And I remember when I was in secondary school, there were like 6 of us. And our teachers were reporting us, and eventually my parents told me to stay away from the bad gang, and each of our parents told us to stay away from the bad gang. So we got back to school the next day, and I asked you, what do your parents say? I said, we should stay away from the bad gang. So when all of us were told to stay away from, we asked each other, so who is now the bad gang if we're all supposed to stay away from the bad gang? That's how we started. That's how we continued rolling. So you see, the pastor is always going to tell you what they think will work in their favor, and these pastors think deeper than you. They've seen the girl. Okay, this girl is not particularly religious. She's not going to allow you to bring 10% of your family income every month as tithe. She's going to mess up your future. Not really, she's going to mess up their future. You understand? I know pastors that have told people not to travel abroad when they got the opportunity to, that they should stay in Port Harcourt and make things happen. Where is Port Harcourt today? How many people are making things happen in Port Harcourt? I remember when Tastebud wanted to sell, she was having problems with her bakery then. She went to meet Pastor. Pastor said, if you want to sell the equipment, let me know. This is a church you've been paying tithe to for how many years? Should the pastor not say, okay, how much do you really need from this to balance this bakery? If she had said like 5 billion, shouldn't the church have come up with like 1 million and say, okay, this is the church's contribution? What can we do as a church to help you? Maybe we can even help you raise investors in the church. Okay, there's this bakery. Can you guys raise some money? So instead, the pastor is wanting to buy the equipment to set up his own bakery. That's the nonsense people hear when you go and carry your matter and go and give pastor that does not have sense. Someone is saying, albino. What are you talking? You see, unfortunately, first of all, you're being racist. And I'm going to have your account deleted from Instagram. I'm pinning the comment. Please, can everybody report this account? Ethan Chris Marthin, please, all of you report this account. This is prejudiced. This is, forget the fact that it's insulting. You should learn to teach people not to talk like this. I'm not an albino. My mother is white. My father is black. I have a European passport. So I'm better off than you are. I'm not stalking somebody's Instagram with nothing working in my life. I don't have a head filled with breeze like you do. But you see, that's not the problem. The problem is we cannot allow people to breed hate. We cannot allow people to breed disrespect. Please report this account. Someone said Romanian is not white too. Before I block you, what is Romanian? I want to ask you, what is Romania? Is Romania not in Europe? Allah lokpolo. You see, you people make us, you make us talk out of order. It is not my fault that you have a low IQ. You are underprivileged and destitute in the intelligence department, and you are constipated with ignorance, Mr. IL on YouTube. They are not considered white in the UK. Then the UK people and you are all mad. Get off my timeline. Oloshiburuku. I'm going to hide the wrong person because of some foolish guy. Let me block this goat. Please, 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 all of you report. Please. Help me report this guy I pinned on Instagram. I'm not going to go forward until we report him. Let's remove hate and discriminatory people. Let's remove them. Even if it's a scam account, let's make sure that scam account is closed. So, back to what I was saying. We need to be very careful on what matters we table before pastors. There are some pastors who genuinely want your interest and would speak to you from a place of love and not a place of judgment. However, most of them, or many of them, let me not say most, let me not judge, many people are manipulative. Now, if you bring someone who's an armed robber, for instance, or an unrepentant prostitute, or an olosho who has olosho in her blood, it's going to be hard in your marriage. And you have to be advised, because sometimes when you are in love with someone, you are blind. I've been there before. I've been in love and I was blind and everybody else could see, but me, I could not see, and they were warning me. There was one girl I dated. The girl told me she was an air hostess. Meanwhile, this girl was a glorified olosho. And everybody who knew was warning me. And people, but I was in love. So it didn't end well. And I'm also warning you guys that in situations like that, it might not end well. But be careful. You bring a girl and the pastor tells you about one future. Which future? Does he know what will happen in the future? If he knew so much about the future, why didn't they tell you about COVID? So we're having a question and answer session, and the floor is open. Ask your questions. Someone said that the free is as chop life. Being with an olosho is not chop life. You will nearly die. Heart attack will kill you. You will call her like this, you go off phone. You go tell her, say, where have you been? Say, we flew. What did she say again? She was a private jet hostess or something like that. We flew our aeroplane to. Meanwhile, she did this Nigeria, locked up with one chairman somewhere. I'm gonna leave all these stories. Daddy Freeze, are aliens real? Abanla Iberi. That's a tough one. You see, let me be very honest. Nobody knows. Or those who know are not talking, and the rest of us can only second guess. Let me explain this to you by asking you a question. How many planets are there in our solar system? How many planets are in our solar system? Please, guys, answer. Oh yeah, I'm waiting. Oh, how many planets are there in our solar system? The first two answers, Daniel Network says 8, Nsima Friday says 9, someone says excluding Pluto 8, first they said 9, now they claim 8. Okay, so let me use that to answer a question. Let me use that to answer the question. We have a solar system, all right? In our solar system that we've been studying for 500 years, or when did astronomy start? About 500 years. We are not sure if we have 8 or 9 planets in our solar system. Now, Google this. How many solar systems in our galaxy? In our own galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, astronomers have discovered more than 3,200 other stars with planets orbiting them in our galaxy. That's how many we've found so far, according to space.nasa.gov. There are likely to be many more planetary systems out there waiting to be discovered. So they've discovered 3,200 solar systems. In our own, we don't know how many planets we have. We have not gone beyond Mars. No human has gone to Mars. They've sent probe. They've sent that Mars, what's that thing that walks on Mars? But no human has been to Mars yet, the closest planet to Earth. And there are 3,200 discovered solar systems. Now, if you read National Geographic says okay, sorry, it's not loading. Wikipedia on the Milky Way says it's estimated to contain 100 to 400 billion stars and at least that number of planets. So the Milky Way contains probably up to 1 billion planets. Now, we live in a solar system that we have not explored. We know very little about our own solar system. We've not gone to any new solar system out of the 3,200 NASA says exist, or the remaining 1 billion that Wikipedia and National Geographic are suggesting exist. And our Milky Way galaxy is just a galaxy, it's not the whole universe. Next to Milky Way, we have another galaxy of billions of planets and billions of solar systems called Andromeda. It is foolhardy, unlettered, unscholarly, unintelligent, lacking, and bereft of knowledge and reasoning to say aliens do not exist. How much knowledge exists in our brain? How much knowledge is available to us for us to sit down like Oba Adun, king of bedbugs, in our little planet, in our little solar system, lost somewhere in the center of the world, and saying it is only our world that is a world, would be really dumb. to make such an assertion? And what do you have to guide you? You say the Bible. The Bible also, there are things in the Bible that I have wondered about. And I'll read some of the verses to you. So, if you were to go with me and read Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. It says, he will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And at the temple, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. Now, sometimes, of course, the Bible can be taken out of context. A lot of writers have suggested that because it comes on the wings of abomination. So a lot of people have suggested, okay, what is here? Of course, I don't particularly buy into this particular text, but it's one of the many texts that people suggest let me show you some clearer ones. Even the way aliens are described. If you've ever, I said aliens, angels are described. Not the seraphim or the cherubim, the ophalim are described as whirling circles with eyes all over. I'm not saying these are examples, clear examples of extraterrestrial beings, but you know, when the scriptures were written, knowledge was limited. And there are many things we can't and we shouldn't rule out. When you see flying saucers, all those flying saucers, does it not look like a whirling circle with eyes all round? That's exactly how the Ophalim angels were described. Let me open it up in scripture for you so you can see it. You get that from the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 10. Both the cherubim and the wheels were okay. Let me read about the wheels. The wheels are the Ophalim. That's the type of angels they are. Oh, stay, Joe. This thing is not opening. Okay. From verse 9. This is Ezekiel chapter 10. I looked, and each of the 4 cherubim had a wheel beside him, and the wheels sparkled like beryl. All the 4 wheels looked like and were made of the same. Each wheel had a second wheel turning crosswise within it. The cherubim could move in any of the 4 directions they faced. They went straight in the direction they faced, never turning aside. Both the cherubim and the wheels were covered with eyes. The cherubim had eyes all over their bodies, including their hands, their backs, and their wings. I heard someone refer to the wheels as the whirling wheels. What Ezekiel saw, a lot of people would wonder, even I wonder till today, what exactly did Ezekiel see? Where the Bible is silent, let's try to be silent. And where the Bible speaks, let us speak. However, let's be careful not cover silence with ignorance. I don't do that. I will not tell you that this is not, for instance, an alien sighting, because let me read you some more. But you guys understand what I'm talking about. I know I had some research material on this. I'm looking through it to see. So, at what stage can we say this is a UFO or this is an angel? You understand? So let's not someone said angels are what they're describing as aliens are what they're describing as angels. I wouldn't say that 100%, but I'll say there is a possibility that if Ezekiel had seen an alien, does he know an alien different from an angel? Yes, I know in Ezekiel chapter 10 and also in Ezekiel chapter 1 he talked about the wheels and the angels and all that. But there are many phenomena. Sorry, said Daddy Freeze, the cherubims different from the four living creatures in Revelation. The four living creatures are very similar to what Ezekiel saw. They're very similar. Someone said, we don't break record. Daddy Freeze don't discover aliens. America never discover. Please shut up. Shut up. Shut up. What do you know that the Americans have discovered? Are you in the American government? You come and here running your mouth with your breeze brain in order to sound witty. What have the Americans discovered? Have they told you what they've discovered? Have you gone to their research facilities? Do you know whether Americans have discovered aliens? Do you know if they are working with aliens? Are you aware? Because the government tells you what they want you to know. How much classified information do you have access to? Please stop talking nonsense. There's one research facility where people are suggesting that in the US they're actually working with aliens and hybrids and all that, and it's one of the researches that they alleged created a leak for what you have as the chupacabra, that's the goat mosquito sucker that drains animals of their blood. Area 51. There's another one after Area 51. There's another one. Let me try to Google it. There was one place that was mentioned, uh, somewhere in New Mexico. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to search for it. I hope I'm correct. Dolce, that's the place. Dolce. Dolce. I'm googling Dolce alien hybrids. Let's see what comes up. Roswell. www.discovery.com. Unfortunately, I can't view it. Dolce, based on Wikipedia, let me read what it says to you, is a subject of a conspiracy theory claiming that a jointly operated human and alien underground facility exists under the Archuleta Mesa on the Colorado-New Mexico border near the town of Dolce, New Mexico in the United States. Claims of alien activity there first arose from blah, 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 blah. Quite a lot of stuff. I'm not saying it's true. Of course, like I said, I cannot say it's not true. Roswell is another example. Area 51 is another example. I'm sorry. Conspiracy theories claiming. I'm blocking this idiot, Victor Torres Kings. I'm sorry, guys. I can't take it anymore. He's just here talking a lot of trash. I'm blocking him. Let him go. Let him go and read a story to his kids. If you claim cherubims are similar, how do you describe Ezekiel chapter... Oh, this guy is talking. How do you describe Ezekiel chapter 1 having 4 faces and Revelation only 1? They are similar. Revelation describes the cherubim in Ezekiel is 1 with 4 faces. In Revelation is 4 separate beings. So, but you see, the beings are still... You see, you can prophetically interpret the Revelation as each of the 4 faces now being a being each. Because if I remember clearly from Daniel's description, there's a face of an ox, a face of an eagle, a face of a man, and a face of a... No, a face of an ox, a face of an eagle, a face of a lion. I think a face of a man. Let me just... Ezekiel chapter 1 is there. So let me... Sorry, guys. Let me get that correct. I don't want to say what doesn't. Keyword similar. Yeah. Ezekiel chapter 1. Let me scroll down. I saw a great storm. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Under each of the 4 wings, I could see human hands. Okay. Okay. Each had a human face at the front. I was correct. So a human face, an eagle's face, an ox's face, and a lion's face. So I was correct. Now in Revelation, they were like 4 different beings. But the being with an ox face, a human face, a lion's face, and an eagle's face. Is the Bible a history book? Not an accurate one. Not a particularly accurate one. The scriptures, if all the scriptures were found, would probably be a lot more historically accurate than what we have as today's Bible. Can you throw some light on YouTube? You're asking too many questions and your questions are jumping and my eyes cannot keep up with that. I'm rounding off. Is Lucifer Christ? I think we've dealt with that. Yes. Revelation chapter 22 verse 16, 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 19. That clearly erases all doubt that Christ is the Lucifer. Why do Christians worship on Sunday as opposed to the biblical Sabbath? Okay, now let me answer that question. You see, it all started with politics. Now, Christianity was an illegal religion, and the Christians were martyred. So they lumped themselves with the Jews and worshipped on Saturday. But the moment Constantine came into power in the 300s, Constantine decreed that Christianity should no longer be seen a as an illegal religion, and the Christians now did not want to have anything to do with the Jews anymore. So they demanded their own day, and their day was given to them. Oh yes, they merged them with all the pagan gods and said, "Yep, y'all can worship God together with the pagans on Sunday." So that's how it came into being. There's nothing spiritual about Sunday. There's nothing philosophical, prophetic. It is simply politics by Constantine, the emperor of Rome, who managed to merge Christians with pagans. And you know, because Christianity had so many loopholes created by so many people, including the Apostle Saul, a lot of the paganness infiltrated into the Christianity to the point where Christianity today is almost 90% pagan. So a lot of people think that what happened was a compound that had a pagan shrine. The shrine was destroyed, and then a church was built. No, 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 no. In the same compound that housed the pagan shrine, a church was built next to the pagan shrine. And after a while, the church and the shrine merged together to become one nice big unit. And that is why you have Christ born on a pagan day. All the pagan gods were born, all the pagan sun gods were born on December the 25th. Helios, Mithra, most of them. And then Easter is named after a Teutonic goddess, another pagan goddess of fertility. Thanks to King James, who brought in the word into the Bible. Most newer Bibles have removed the word Easter in exchange for the better word Pascha or Passover. So I hope I've answered that question. Multiple wives, is it biblical or is it a sin? Now let me address that. You see, having multiple wives, I don't believe will keep you from making heaven. But you see, there's a tough clause. The essence of Christianity is love your neighbor as yourself. If you love your wife as you love yourself, would you marry another woman when she can't marry another husband? So it's not sinful, but it can deny you your blessings, not your blessings. It can make you sin. It can lead to sin. You have to be able to find a wife who willingly understands that she has the right to marry another husband if you marry another wife, but rescinds that right to you. Says, you know what, I'm not going to marry another husband. I'm not going to cheat on you. I'm going to accept the fact that you can marry another wife, and I'm going to allow you to do it. Then secondly, I'll use the Quran to answer this. The Quran says marry one. For those who one woman is not enough, marry two, marry three, and maybe even marry four. But if you know best, you'd marry only one. So at the end of the day, even the Quran gives clauses, says you must be fair to all of them. And how easy is it to be fair to 4 women? How easy is it to love 4 women equally? And I remember a story of a man going to meet the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with 2 apples. And he says, you know what, I have 2 wives, here are 2 apples. How am I supposed to be fair? Do I give each one an apple? Then the Prophet said, no, cut each apple into 2 and give each wife 1/2 of each apple, just in case one apple is sweet and the other one is sour. So each of them gets 1/2 of the sour and the sweet. That way you've been fair to the 2 of them. So you can see how difficult it is to be fair on little minute details, let alone big ones. And there's a bigger story coming out of that, which is you're better off just marrying one and avoiding all the drama. What about tattoos? There's nothing wrong with tattoos. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 27 and 28. Can you permit me to read this as I end this? There's absolutely nothing wrong with tattoos. Leviticus 19, 27, that's where tattoos were mentioned, and the law said tattoos are bad. So let me read verse 27 first. It says, you must not cut off the hair on the sides of your head. Can you see the hair on the side of my head? I've cut it. So I'm sinning right now. I'm against the law. And you must not trim the edge of your beard. If you can see, my beards are neater than they were 2 months ago. Do you know why they're neat? Because I trimmed them. So verse 28 now says, do not cut up your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. So in 27 that says, don't trim your beard, don't trim the hair on the side of your head. I have trimmed and I have cut. And then I'm now saying somebody in verse 28 cannot draw tattoo. Am I not mad? Am I not mad? So at the end of the day, I'm being a hypocrite. Your pastors are 90% of them are clean shaven, and they are saying you cannot draw tattoo. Any day they tell you that you are disobeying the Bible, draw them back to Leviticus 19:27 and tell them that their clean shave is also a disobedience to the Levitical laws that were given to Moses. But to be honest, the Levitical laws are no longer our covenant. They have expired. Now, if you draw some satanic symbol, the problem now is, what is a satanic symbol? Because if Christ is Lucifer and you tattoo Lucifer on your body, did you tattoo the devil? You understand? So what exactly? So there are those borderlines. If you draw something obscene, if you draw something rude, if you draw something racist, if you draw something if you draw all those things, yes, then it can now be a sin. But in all honesty, you're right. Your name, Daddy Freeze, on your chest, how is that a sin? Somebody that tells you that is a sin, just tell them to keep quiet and go and find work. Now, Binta said, I was asked, did Eve eat an apple or a fruit or slept with an angel or a fallen one? Tough. You see, the word apple or apple tree is like an old Hebrew slang for the human organ. And you can find this in the Songs of Solomon. Songs of Solomon chapter 2 verse 3. Can you open that up for me? Songs of Solomon 2 and 3. Your pastors not interpret this poetically for you. They'll be interpreting where they don't need. If you read this in the New Living Translation, it says, like the finest apple tree in the orchard is my lover among other men. I sit in his delightful shade and taste his delightful fruit. What shade are you sitting inside? What fruit are you tasting? If you read Songs of Solomon chapter 2, Songs of Solomon chapter 3, you would understand that this is a very romantic and almost, should I say, sexually X-rated. No, not X-rated. This is borderline sensuality and sexuality, sexual enhancement and romance at the highest level. You know? So you see, a lot of people use apple tree, but if you read NIV now uses apricot tree. So the exact fruit is also a bit hidden, but the apple tree, let me see what King James says here. King James also says apple tree. Berean Study Bible uses apricot, and Berean Study Bible is the only one that uses apricot. Christian Standard Bible, apricot. Holman, apricot. Okay, quite a few use apricot. Okay, like 3 Bible translations use apricot tree. However, it's sounding to me like apple tree, and we don't know for certain what really transpired, because a lot was lost in the poetic license of the book of Genesis and so many things were hidden. For instance, when they say the eyes of the man were opened, and they were now like God, which was the temptation the serpent gave them. How do you really explain that? So they had knowledge, and then knowledge was bad. It's a little deeper than all that. So I would rather not go too much into it. So I wouldn't say. Uh, um, I think I've tried. That verse is used to tell me, yep, 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 yep. It's exactly what it is. Okay. Yeah, I think I've tried. A serpent was used to describe a being. I don't want to, you see, pastors are watching my video. I don't want them to come and misquote me and say what I didn't say that I cannot defend. I can easily defend that Christ is Lucifer. I can defend it with my eyes closed. I can defend that tithing is a heretic doctrine with my eyes closed. I can defend so many things. But right now, you can see that they are. So I don't want to say it is sex. You understand what I'm saying? And then I cannot prove it. Or I now have to prove it prophetically like they prove their own. So I can only say, I cannot tell you categorically that they are aliens in the Bible. That what Ezekiel saw was an alien. I can only say it sounds like, it looks like, so it's up to your understanding. I've read somewhere that how Cain was conceived. There are a lot of suggestions. There is the suggestion that Cain is the son of the devil, and the Bible is offered as evidence, because if you read the lineage of Adam, Cain is not there. But this could be because of the fact that Cain was banished, So superfecundation, thank you very much, Chidima. Superfecundation is when two men sleep with a woman and she gets pregnant and has two sons for two men. So it is suggested that Adam slept with Eve, and the serpent or the being slept with Eve, and they had Cain and Abel, and Cain was the son of the being while Abel was the son of God. It's a theory I've read, and if you read the scriptures, when Adam's son, what's his name again, Seth, was born, the scriptures now say this one was born in my image. So Seth was Adam's real son. A lot suggest that Cain was not his son. So through the superfecundation theory, it is said Cain is the son of the devil or the serpent or whoever it is. Do I buy it 100%? No. Do I reject it 100%? No. I just sit and watch. How important is it for my salvation? If it's not entirely true, or if you can't prove it, and the Holy Spirit hasn't given me a special revelation for it, I'll just leave it. It's not that important. If the Holy Spirit gives me a revelation to it, who am I to reject the truth? So it's a theory. I want to read where Seth was born. I think that's Genesis 4. The whole Bible inside my head. I'm trying to ping, and people are putting me on back-to-back question. Is that Genesis 3 or Genesis 4? If I get it accurately, then I've tried. I bad. Okay, Genesis 4. wow. I'm very good. But it's just opening King James. Hold on, let me open NLT. I don't like this King James at all. Make una no vex. Okay. Genesis chapter 4. Okay, so if you read from 17, you see the descendants of Cain. Cain had sexual relations with his wife, and she got pregnant, and she gave birth to Enoch. And Cain founded a city which he named Enoch after his son Enoch. Blah 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 blah. Then all the way to verse 25. I good. Genesis chapter 4. See as I pick up from my brain straight. Oh, make another clap for me. So Adam had sexual relations with his wife again, and she gave birth to another son. She named him Seth, for she said, God has granted me another son in place of Abel, whom Cain killed. When Seth grew up, he had a son named Enosh at the time people first began to worship the Lord by name. So there's a place where fantastic. Genesis chapter 5 now. If you read from verse 3, when Adam was 130 years old, he became the father of a son who was just like him in his very own image. He named his son Seth. So you can see what I was trying to tell you. He had a son like him in his very own image. And after the birth of Seth, Adam lived another 800 years old, and he had sons and daughters. Okay, so let's round that off right here. I think I've tried for you people this night. So a lot of theorists and theologians and conspiracy theorists are suggesting that Cain was not the son of Adam because Seth was born in his image. So Seth was like him, the way Adam was created in the image of God. So was Seth in the image of Adam, and Cain was not in the image of Adam or in the image of God. But the Bible does not categorically say that. It seems to suggest it, but it doesn't say it. And like what I said earlier on, what the Bible doesn't say, don't make it look like it is saying it. Okay, so I'm rounding off. Someone is asking about the perpetual Virgin Mary, but Binta asked first. So we'll do another question and answer session and talk about that later. But Binta, very quickly, so I can round this off. Someone said maybe they were talking about resemblance. Oh yes, that's a possibility. But the fact that you're saying they were talking about resemblance doesn't mean that they were not talking about image the way, okay, do you resemble God? We're built in God's image. That means how can somebody that is handsome be created in God's image and person who will want to be created? So it's obviously not exactly image of likeness. But you see, the Bible is silent. Let's remain silent. But let's also address the lies that some people are trying to bring up, because there's really no evidence. The book of Genesis was found largely in parchment and a lot missing, and scholars try to fill up the books, and not so accurately all the time, so do permit them. Did God make one more woman for Cain and Abel, or did they sleep with their mother to produce more children? There were women on earth before Adam and Eve. That is very silly to presume otherwise. And a lot of you, they will tell you that they had a sister. There was no sister mentioned. Let's not say what the Bible does not say. And the scriptures say Cain left and went to the east, to the land of Nod, and married a woman there. Who was the woman there? And God put a mark on Cain, and nobody should kill him. Who wants to kill him? Nobody, only him and his mama and his papa, they alive. They could not leave all this matter. And Adam did not have any other children. Adam did not have Seth until Cain had Enoch and Inrad and all those his children. So please, let's leave all that. Is Lilith Adam's wife? According to Jewish mythology, there was a woman created with Adam first. That is why you will see stories like let's make man and woman in our image. We created male and female. Then after God created male and female, in the next chapter the man is now lonely. So and a lot of people say the chronological order of the Bible is not the Bible has many books missing. If you go and see the original scrolls and sit down with archaeologists and theologians, they will tell you that there was a lot missing between the two books. Why did the Bible name Adam and Eve as the first human? I would say they're the first human created in God's image. Evolution is real. The rest of the world probably evolved. But God saw the evolution and all that and didn't quite like it and wanted to have a special breed of humans created in his own image. And that is where he put Adam and Eve in a special garden away from everybody else. But they sinned and they were thrown to join everybody else. And they eventually joined everybody else. It's a theory, but you can't say it's wrong because you have no evidence. And the book of Genesis, I warn you, is not evidence. I heard the devil didn't start the rebellion in heaven. This story of a rebellion in heaven is a first Enoch book story. It's not particularly biblical. Who created those other people? Evolution probably did. Evolution is real. A lot of people try to run away. You see, evolution is proven. The problem with evolution is it gets to a point where evolution gets stuck. Science always gets stuck. But religion gets stuck faster than science. Because according to the history of the Bible, the world is about 13,000 years old. Is the world 13,000 years old? 13,000 is a stretch. Most scholars, if they date the Bible, they'll get 8,000 years. Is the world 8,000 years old? You're there fooling yourself. So, Nurse Regina, thank you so much. Said I'm rare. Okay, the one I know, I will tell you. The one I don't know, I will tell you that. Let's leave. Why did the Bible say should not be allowed to speak in churches? Oh, I'm assuming you're saying women. You see, that letter was a letter specifically to the women, to the church in Corinth. The women in Corinth are extremely stubborn. So Paul Paul was the one that brought in all this. But that's why I don't follow Saul. I get issues with Saul. In as much as he had a great heart and he worked so hard for the furtherance of the gospel, he brought in the politics you see in church today. Now Apostle Saul started. Can you not say I'm tired? People not let somebody rest. Oh yeah, good night, all of you. Which is the case of the chicken and the egg, which came first? Absolutely, absolutely. Speak on the Masons and Illuminati. I'm not sure I want to do that. Saul was a political lawyer, absolutely. Is there life after death? Bible suggests there is. A lot of people also suggest there is. A lot of people also suggest reincarnation. I can't answer all questions, but I'll choose to say yes. Or should I say, I believe there is. I think that's fair enough. I'm entitled to my belief system. Okay, guys, take care. Is there a mystery behind the thief of the cross being the first to enter paradise? He could probably be the first to enter paradise because, you see, he repented on the cross and was saved by the blood. So it's a huge possibility. We can't rule that out. Unless there was somebody somewhere else that beat him to it, he possibly could be the first to enter paradise because he was right there at the right time. So sometimes being right there at the right time could earn you paradise, and doing the right thing could earn you paradise. God bless you, Franca. God bless you, Binta. God bless all of you. Thank you all for coming out. Have you seen an angel? No, I haven't, but I have quite a few people who have had encounters. Esther Mori, reincarnation. You see, I remember being a young child watching TV in Ibadan, and Yoruba people have what you call ikudaya, meaning somebody would die and will start living another life somewhere else. and the family would come home. It's a proper phenomenon in Yoruba land. And the family, one day, the wife would tell you that this is your husband that you are following. Where is his family? You want to go and meet his family. So they would come to the family house, and the husband would say, okay, that's my family house. Just go and tell them I'm coming. I want to quickly greet my friend that lives here. And when the woman goes to the family house and says, you are so and so's wife, they will now take her to the back of the house and show the person the grave and say, this is where the person you said is married. I saw it on NTA. A woman with children. I can never forget. I was about 7, and everybody on the it was a normal phenomenon. Everybody was like, hey, Olofe Akudaya. She went to marry somebody who, and the guy had kids, and it was a proper NTA documentary back then. They showed the grave of the guy. They showed the wife crying with the children. So now I'm going to talk about Abiku. I have 2 instances of Abiku in my family. I have a cousin. I know my cousin very well. His name is Rotimi. Now, Rotimi is an Abiku name. I don't know if it still is, but those days it was an Abiku name. Now, that cousin of mine kept dying according to the story. And the mother kept having children who were dying, so they did the ritual. And they marked all his body with tribal marks. Every joint, like here 1, here 1, here 1, here 1, here 1, here 1. And they buried him, the baby, like that. When the boy was born, he was born with the marks. My cousin about my age, we used to be very close. I don't know where he is now, but we grew up together. The second one was one of my dad's cousins, who was very black with twisted arms. And what happened was, they broke his, when he kept coming and going, they broke his arms, broke his legs, and burnt the body of the child alive. And when he was reborn, he was born with the same way they bent his hand and his leg. I wish I could call my dad, and my dad would tell. I wish. I don't know if my dad would want to ever come online to discuss these kind of things, but this is something that happened in my family. Now, am I going to say that it does not exist? Yes, of course, there's a possibility that they assumed it happened, or they thought it happened, or because it's not properly documented, it was lost along the line somewhere. There's a huge possibility of that. But there's also a huge possibility that it's true. So am I going to sit down here and say something that I have seen the likeliness of it in my family does not exist? No, it's a huge possibility. But also back then, medicine was not as advanced as it was. So child mortality was very high, as against now when modern medicine and antibiotics and all have come into being. Take care, guys. Enough. I'm not talking again. Good night, all of you. You guys enjoy this topic too much. I'm sure we'll do another. Do you want us to have another session like this where it's open, where people ask questions, where I can just talk about anything? Did you enjoy it? I want your feedback in the comment section. Before you go, drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Did I address the questions very well? Not here. When I load the video, because your comments here are not going to show in the video. So please drop your comments. I want to read through. I want to see your feedback. Just wait for me to load the video. Don't say anything again. Then before you leave, drop one comment. There are 166 people watching. I want to see 166 comments. Not here on the video. Don't be lazy. Do this for me. I want to be able to go through and say, okay, I answered this question well. I didn't answer this question well. What more do we need? Let's work and make this possible. Take care, guys, and God bless. And wait for a second, let the video load so you can drop your comments. If I don't see 73 comments on YouTube and 160 something comments on Instagram, I will not have this session again. That means you people don't want us to have feedback.